Hello everyone, and welcome back to Unity of Command. This is the campaign scenario Crossing the Dnieper from the Red Turn DLC. October the 13th, 1943. Late in the summer campaign season, the Soviets attempt to cross the Dnieper in force before the Rasputitsa allows the Germans to regroup. Right. What you're going to see is the first attempt. This is a scenario where the population density is extreme. I mean, I think this is the densest map of all the scenarios of this whole game, actually. So it's a very small map section of the area around Dnipropetrovsk, and there are a ton of units on it. We heavily outnumber the Axis forces around 3-2. This is, in my opinion, a very easy map. This bridging action, I think it's limited in one total, one or two probably, is going to be of use. And this is also a kind of an unusual map in more ways than one. I don't know if this would otherwise be, I don't think it would be like a very difficult scenario, but in this playthrough the AI made a horrible mistake, and that costed the game basically. So not sure if you can get lucky like that all the time, but whatever. Alright, as you can see, this is all of it, and there are a ton of units here. Let's see, and there is a very little area that we need to capture or cover. So let's see our objectives. There are only two objectives. The first one is Zaporozhye, the last major urban area in German hands on the eastern bank of the Dnieper, to be captured on turn 1 actually. This was more difficult than it needed to be on this playthrough, but obviously this is very easy to capture and to hold, since it's on our side of the river, as you know. And the other one is Krivoy Rog, or Kryvyi Rih, as it's called today. Recapturing the mines in the area deals a blow to the resource-starved German war industry, to be captured by the end of turn 5. Right. As you can see, the distances are not great, obviously. And oops, don't worry about weather. And as it's called, you know, as the whole map is called Crossing the Dnieper, you would think that we don't start on their side, on the further side, the western bank of the river, but it's not true. Actually, we already have a few units stationed there, which are in a relatively bad supply situation, and that's where this bridging action comes into play. As you can see, you can construct a bridge here. I highly recommend you do that on turn 1. It will make both crossing, so with your units, as well as supply far better, far superior. And now let's take a look at the supply. Our supply situation is for once excellent. I'm really happy for this one. We have two supply sources, both with ranges of 8 on the supply line network, which is which crisscrosses this map. So no matter where you break through, I mean, obviously you're gonna break through here, but no matter how or where you break through, your supply is gonna reach. And if you construct the bridge here, as you can see, it starts with a power of 5 from here. As most of the area is totally empty, with a few forests and swamps, but it's open, it's clear area. That means that you practically don't ever have to worry about your supply situation once this bridge is constructed. In any case, of course, or not of course, but in any case, we are going to capture almost all hexes. I overlooked this one hex. It's going to remain empty in enemy hands. But we are going to capture the whole map. And yeah, that's it. Let's take a look at the forces allocated. You can immediately see there are two front sectors, one in the southeast around the first objective, and the other one around the area where the bridge crossing has already been, the river crossing has already been forced. And that makes perfect sense. We have 3 armored units, which are all excellent. This is our best unit on the battlefield. The Axis fields 3 weak panzer divisions, or you know, standard panzer divisions. They have veteran level experience, but only 4 steps each. The Grossdeutschland, The Totenkopf, both of them are elite, have 4 steps and no specialist steps. And the 16th, the 16th Panzergrenadier Division, also veteran, and so all of them are veteran with 4 steps and no specialist steps. The enemy doesn't have any specialist steps whatsoever. On the other hand, our forces have a ton of them, so all our armored units are equipped with Katyushas, and a whole lot of our other units are either equipped with guns, with our trusty infantry guns, or with T-34s. Yeah, I guess that's it. The strategy is very simple. Create the bridge, cross here and cause mayhem, cause havoc, destroy as many of the enemy units as possible. Create havoc. You don't really need to worry about frontline situations or anything like that. Just keep the bridge connection intact. And here in the east, force a breakthrough. There is an intact bridge here. Force a push through. You can also try to force a push through here, but the Dnipropetrovsk is held by an infantry unit, and yeah, so it's in a city X. It's going to be more difficult than in an open X. And another thing is that basically all of the enemy units have 4 steps each actually, and so these infantry units are pushovers. They're really not dangerous unless they are in defensive areas like swamps, forest, or cities. Or dug in, obviously, but the idea is that you can assault them head on with your own infantry units, and they'll just suffer huge casualties. All right, so let's see how it went. First, we need to capture this city, as you know, Zaporizhia, and unfortunately, on this assault, the city turned into ruins, which confers a huge defensive bonus plus +2 shift for the defenders. So actually, this 123rd Infantry Division is going to be difficult to remove from here, more painful than you would expect, but we manage, barely, and we immediately force a crossing here. There is no need to wait for anything here really. We are not in danger. Obviously the AI is not going to be able to cross the river anywhere basically. We use our gun and try to destroy this unit as well. It repulsed us, but it was still I'm not saying it was a great trade, but kind of acceptable. This was also acceptable. Since we outnumbered them so heavily, that's fine. We push ahead, and I've learned my mistake from one of the previous maps, if you recall. I leave gaps here so that if this unit is distressed, it can retreat and doesn't have to be cornered and destroyed like that. This unit has an infantry gun and 6 steps, so I'm hoping it can stand up to these pathetic units that are in front of it, and I'm also hoping that the AI won't throw anything heavier at it. Now let's turn to the northwest. We're actually assaulting the tanks head on, which is something, and this one actually turned out to be quite excellent. So now what we're going to do is we're trying to create some room so that we can destroy this unit, and if we overrun it, it was totally depleted, so let's assault again. We already caused the AI grievous casualties, and yeah, we're going to also try to force a crossing here, widen the gap. That's not going to be a problem, even though this unit is on the other side of the river. Yep, we don't need to hold the river line. The only reason these units are pushed here is that we can cross the river once the coast is clear. And as I stated, we construct the bridge here. I think this is the only obligatory element of this map. Bridge construction works like this. The bridge is not yet done, so you cannot use it for anything on this your turn, but it will already be completed by the next turn of the AI, which means that if any of our units gets pummeled, then they can actually retreat across it. And of course, on our turn, it's going to provide us with a path and with supply. So all's well. That was it for our turn. Turn 1 for the Axis. As the first move, as always, the AI moves its best unit into the victory hex to hold it. This was the best unit because one of the other panzer divisions was destroyed and the other one was a bit weakened. So this is what it had to work with. It's fine, and it's going to assault that unit with the infantry gun, causing it grievous casualties. And fortunately, it withdrew, which is excellent. So We're going to reorganize it, obviously, but still, that's fine. The AI is also trying to stop our approach here. I don't know why it was so afraid of this push here. Maybe because we had more armored units here. But you can already see what happened, what huge mistake the AI made. But more on that later. Yep. Now it's our turn. And I don't know if I talked in detail about this, but the AI supply sources, there are two supply sources for the Axis. Both of them are on the road. This one is already cut off from here, so it's not really that important. The other one is the one that is supplying all of their forces perfectly well. It has a range of 8. Both of them have ranges of 8. And obviously it reaches, well, anywhere. Even in bad weather, I think it would reach almost everywhere. And yeah, so what happened is that because of the AI's movements, it left a huge gap in the front line. There's nothing here. We could actually rush directly towards the victory axe if we wanted to, but instead, I moved this tank unit, this mechanized corps, onto their supply hex, and with this one fell swoop, we actually cut off all of their units except for these two from supply, because the other supply source is obviously cut off here totally. So what that means is that the next turn, if we can keep a hold of this supply source and keep cutting off the units, or this road rather, and then these two are the only remaining units that will remain in supply, and the AI has basically one turn to turn the tide. So its next turn is going to be crucial for it. It's not going to succeed. So we reorganize as I promised. We're also going to try crossing everywhere else. We received reinforcements, a few steps, and actually I turned this unit back to standard, which is not optimal, but hey, it turned back into veteran now. And as you can see, we can plow through their strongest units as well, with our strongest units, granted, but still. We don't really need any we don't really need any more units at this moment. I'm positive that we can hold a front line here, and then the AI will just crumble in a few turns actually. So victory is already guaranteed at the beginning of turn 2 because of that huge mistake the AI did. I never seen it do that. It created a double layered front line here, so 2 rows, and on the other important front line it actually left a huge gap. So we didn't advance much, that's true, but we destroyed a few units, and don't forget that on our turn 3 and the AI is going to already start to lose steps to suppression. Sorry, not on our turn 4, I apologize, but we need to capture this only on turn 5. So we still have 3 further turns to capture it. We are literally 2 hexes away from it, and it's running out of supply. So these are the last meaningful moves the AI can make, and as you can see, it's not doing a very good job at this. I don't really understand these movements. It's withdrawing from this pocket, but I don't understand that either. It just gave up a river crossing and a city hex for nothing. It's not like it can crawl back to supply. There is no supply, so it's not like its forces are better this way. Now what it looks like is that instead of creating a cohesive front line in the east, it decided that the northwestern breach is worse, so it created another front line here. It's totally worthless. I don't understand, but whatever. And funnily enough, it received one infantry step as a reinforcements, and this was the only, well, these were the 2 units that it could distribute it to, so it had to give it to this one. It couldn't give it to, for instance, the motorized division or any of the other better units. All right. Our turn 3, and with our first move, we actually captured the other supply source. Not that it's like it's crucially important or anything, but I find it hilarious. Yeah, and we make sure that we don't lose that one as well. Now, on the next turn, from the next turn onward, only these 2 units can attack. We'll be able to attack. We are 100% sure of that. So let's make sure that that they won't. And yeah, and that was it. This unit is going to survive this turn with one wonderful step. That's it. Everything else is out of the game practically, and I came up with an idea. I actually make the Totenkopf retreat, And I see this not very strong, admittedly not very strong unit here on their supply X. Since nothing will be able to attack it, it doesn't matter what kind of unit sits on the enemy supply X, as long as we hold it with something. Even holding it is not that crucial. We could recapture it on our turn, I believe, with anything. But still, this will do its job. Nothing can attack it, so it's fine. And now there is no other task left for us. There are two tasks: to hunt down the units, to just to make short work of them, and to capture the victory X. We are not in any hurry. We have, apart from this, we have 2 further whole turns to do that, and the AI is going to get progressively weaker. I make sure that I don't move out this unit accidentally of the city victory hex and give a fleeting chance to the AI to make us lose. So I don't want to lose because of a stupidity like that. And yeah, actually we reshuffle a bit. That looked better. And the other thing that you'll notice is that I don't really form a cohesive line, or there is not much. The grouping is not very like effective or clean, but that's fine. Actually, we are creating havoc. We are not in any danger. Our supply is totally excellent. So even in this state, it's like perfect. Almost all the road hexes that we control have the supply act as a supply source with a range of 8. So everything is almost in full supply, and and so we can do basically whatever we want. There is nothing that the AI can do. I was a tiny bit afraid that this motorized division would go somewhere, even in its depleted state, but not that scared, to be honest. Alright, so this is turn 3 for the AI. Already the units are half depleted, and it doesn't look great. It's trying to crawl back into, well, the victory X, and in a brilliant stroke it actually cut these 2 units off from supply. That's totally pointless. They are still fully supplied, fortunately, on this turn. They can act, and they will, they can do everything. They didn't cause us any harm or whatever, and of course by the next turn nothing will be left. Actually, I could have won this turn. I have no idea why I didn't. I think I was tired playing this map, but you're going to see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so let's remove the only AI unit that was in the northwest, and let's clean up house. That's, again, it's not like it's a huge achievement, a huge feat to take care of these straggler units, and it really isn't, truly isn't. The area at the Dnieper bend is totally in our hand, completely in our hands. Only a few straggler units remain now around Krivoy Rog, but we want to get rid of them as well. We overrun the first one. We try to capture most of the area, and we assault the city X. That didn't work out very well, but once again we can lose literally all our units on this one. It's not a problem. And actually at this moment this city X is being held by 1 tank, and I think I overlooked. I don't know what I was doing, but in the end I'm not going to use these 2 units to attack. This unit has 1 suppress step, so they would definitely destroy it and we'll be able to capture it. I also don't move this unit to the south to capture this otherwise pointless area. Instead, I'm just going to finish off these 2 infantry, or motorized and standard infantry divisions. Yep. And for some reason, no idea why, the situation is not going to change in any way. I'm actually going to hand over the control to the AI after this one. Yeah. And I don't know what I was thinking, but in any case, maybe I was thinking that I wanted this unit to enter the city X, or one of the motorized or armored units. But whatever, this is the end of the map. Turn 5, admittedly, but we definitely could have won on turn 4 with ease. And I still didn't move this unit across. No idea why. I had 2 whole turns to do that. Anyway, that was the map. Weather can play a bad factor here, because it can be to your detriment, because it's actually so the weather is all over the place. It's already time for the Rasputitsa, so you might get unlucky and have bad weather at places where you want to attack. I have no idea if this map is like very easy if you play it on normal. I cannot imagine that it's that difficult. It's also very short, so you can restart it quickly. But with that huge mistake that the AI made, that turned it into a pushover. So on turn 2 we managed to cut them all off from supply in a secure way that there was no way to dislodge us. We never were in danger of ever being cut off like anywhere. Yeah, so that's the map. Crossing the Dnieper. I hope this helps. I mean, I don't know if it does, but I hope this helps you if you are struggling with it or if you find it difficult. Of course, you need to capture Zaporizhia, immediately force a crossing, and try to force a crossing here as well. In the north, that's the key is constructing the bridge. I'm 100% sure of that. And then you might want to replicate at least my strategy. If you can capture or can cut off the supply, then they will just collapse like here, like they did here. And I don't think the AI is very adamant at holding, this axis here. So that's it. Well, that was Crossing the Dnieper. I thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time as well. Bye bye.